Hi guys, today I would like to touch on the topic of Taoism. This is a religion that is very important to me. I have become very interested in it about 1 year ago after I had my first LSD experience. Actually, the Taoism, I first became familiar with it a little bit about 10 years ago when I happened to have a book called Tao Te Ching, which is considered something like a Bible for Taoism. The book is quite short, and the things that are written there are not very clear. So I read it. It seemed very interesting to me, but I couldn't understand what it actually means. And then it took another 10 years of consideration about what actually Taoism is. I was not really interested in it, so sometimes it comes to my mind, but I never really was so much focused on it. And 1 year ago, I took a drug called LSD, and suddenly, during the LSD trip, it appeared to me that many things that are in the book are actually true. One thing I would like to mention before I start a discussion about the Taoism is that every profound discussion about Taoism usually looks like a discussion of three blind men who have an elephant in front of them, and they try to understand how an elephant looks like by touching him. So one man would touch an elephant and say to the others that it looks like a rope. Another man would say that elephant looks like a pillar, and the third man would say that elephant looks like a snake. It is because they touch a different part of the elephant, and each part of elephant actually looks different. When we talk about religion, the situation is very similar, because normally the God is a being that is very complex, which is infinite, and even if different people they study the same religion or they believe in the same religion, they all understand God in a different way, because they would sort of investigate different parts of God. Some people like the religious doctrine, some people like the prophecies, some people like the culture of religion, like the architecture, the paintings, etc. So I think that what I say about Taoism right now can be quite different from what others people would say. How I would describe what Taoism is? I think the best way to describe it is to look at the sign of Taoism. I think most of people have seen it already. It actually is a circle which consists of two parts. One is white, one is black. In the middle of white part there is a black dot, in the middle of the black part there is a white dot. So those two colors, they represent two major forces that make the universe move, the Yin and Yang. And those dots in the middle of the part represent that actually one force comes from another force. Why I think Taoism is correct is because for my life I have tried to find those answers about the God, about what is right, what is wrong, etc. And Taoism seems to answer questions in the best way. One of the questions that I was asking myself is why our life is so difficult, so complicated. Because we know that humankind exists for about maybe 30,000 years, the modern kind, and the first humans appeared maybe 2 million years ago. All of them were facing problems, and all of them were solving problems. So by now, after such a long time, most of the problems should have been solved. So our life should be quite easy. However, we still see that there are many challenges that we need to face. Many problems are not solved, and some people even decide to commit a suicide. So why Taoism? As I mentioned before, normally one force, like Yang, is a source of another force, which is Yin. We can translate it to English language. It happened that Taoism comes from China, and many terms are in Chinese. But we can call them good and bad. And in other words, good is the source of the bad, and the bad is the source of the good. I would give you an example. If you look at the Second World War, which was the biggest disaster of the humankind, I think, in the entire history, so many people died, so many people suffered, so many people lost their relatives, their children, their parents, etc. However, we can't deny that the Second World War also had a lot of good things coming out of it. For example, it gave a tremendous boost to technology. It has changed the political power balance towards the Soviet Union. As you can see, there is a Russian flag on the background. I actually come from Russia, so from some point of view I can say that the Second World War was good for Russia, for the Soviet Union, because it became much stronger, and it was controlling half of the world, the eastern hemisphere. So the good things come from the bad things, and actually this is the reason why we have problems right now. The problems that existed before, they were solved, but every problem is solved by creating new problems. For example, nowadays we can say that we live in a developed time, in a developed world. The world hunger mostly has been solved. There are a few people that are starving, except for those people in Africa. You know that China is developing very quickly, and it's becoming more and more wealthy. However, all those benefits, they have some costs. If you look at China, it has a great environment. China has tremendous progress in economy in recent years. However, there is a cost for it. It also has the greatest environmental issues in the world. There's so much pollution generated out of it. And if I look at life, I can see this interaction of yin and yang constantly. For example, you look at those people who consider to be successful, maybe some rich people, some tycoons, some famous people like movie stars, some people with power like the President of the United States, or the great politicians, etc., etc. If you look at their biographies, then you see that in their life they actually were facing a lot of problems. So when they reached the peak of the power, they normally had to pay a heavy price. Also, many people that are on the top, they have been killed, or they died in unnatural circumstances. They maybe took drugs, etc., etc. So the great success normally implies a great suffering. So this is a point of view that made me think about life in a slightly different way. I see that many things that people chase for, they're sort of pointless, like money, power, fame, etc. They are good, but they also produce a lot of problems for you. However, this kind of theory is a little bit pessimistic, because it means that whatever you do, if the world is in balance, then there will be something that will balance out your efforts. So in the long run, your efforts will not actually make much difference. I think this brief session is probably the first session on Taoism that I have, because this religion has a lot of importance to me, and I hope that in future I'll come back to you again and give more details about what I think on this topic. Now my friend has some questions. Yeah.
I have a question. Why, people can choose simple way. People can choose different religions, what is good for themselves, right? So some think Muslim is better for me, some think is Christian. Why is this Taoism is good for you? Like, why do you find yourself in this religion or in this philosophy?
Okay, I think that this is because of the fact that I am a very pragmatic person, and I choose a religion that answers most of the questions. If I look at Christianity or Islam, if I look at Bible or Quran, etc., then there are many things there, they don't make sense to me. Actually, Christianity looks to me like a fairy tale, and it's very hard to believe. And there are so many contradictions in it. For example, God is loving, but there is so much suffering in the world, and etc. There is a whole list of things that I don't agree in Christianity. I have spent a long time analyzing different religions. So Taoism is the one that provides the most answers to me.
Okay, so another question. You reckon everyone has a choice, has a right to choose the religion or philosophy which suits for themselves, or should be one idea, the philosophy or religion, which should be like dominating? Like, if you think, would you say Taoism should be like dominating in the whole world, and all the others kind of sub-religions or some sub-philosophies?
No, I definitely don't think that there should be some religion, or actually I think it doesn't matter. I don't really try to appeal to people and say please believe in Taoism or something. I just provide my small opinion. It doesn't really matter which religion is dominant. We look for answers. Some people look for answers and they choose the religion. Some people look for some maybe comfort and they choose Christianity because they are not afraid of death after they choose it, etc., etc. So I don't really try to achieve some goal of making some religion more dominant, etc. It doesn't really matter to me.
Okay, no, my point wasn't like you trying to pursue people, but I think if you find the answers in this idea and somebody else will find answers in that idea, then basically everyone can choose whatever they like. So in the whole world there is still no like proper answer for the whole things.
Yeah, that's I think that what you say is actually proving Taoism is right, because once let's assume Taoism is correct. Maybe I hope it is correct because it seems to be correct. Then there might be some other religions that are wrong, and they don't die out because Taoism says there are two parts. There is white and black. So once we have white, which might be Taoism, then there might be some black religions that actually, which is a lie. So this battle will always continue. So the lie and the truth is those two yin and yang powers, the way yin and yang manifests itself.
Mm-hmm.
So guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you have any questions, comments, please let me know. I'll be happy to hear about your opinion. Thank you, bye bye.